Hello everybody, I'm Greg, and I've been waiting for a while now to make a video because and just this week, some very important numbers came out for your investments in your 401ks and your IRAs for 2024. I don't know about you guys, I've had a very busy summer, but with this information coming out, I'm gonna review it for you, give you all those numbers for 2024, lay out a strategy, dollar amounts, dates, and then we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But this summer and this time, I'm shooting this in the first week of November, right? So first week of November, next week, the second week of November is a very good time for you all to kind of settle down. I call it the quiet time of the year. Most people's vacations are done. We are starting to creep into the holidays, but we have not got to Thanksgiving yet. So right now is a really good time for you guys to maybe take a breath and do some reading and making some plans so that when the holidays kick in, you could still quickly make the smart decisions to kick off 2024 on the right foot, okay? Now, before I get going, I've been getting a lot of emails, a lot of Teams messages, and even chatting with a lot of people one-on-one. I wanna go over real quickly because there's a lot of confusion with retirement accounts and the structure of them and how they work. So let me go over that real quick just to make sure we're all on the same page. Then we'll dive into the numbers for 2024, okay? So on the screen, guys, many of you watch my TSP videos or have sat through my TSP class. You guys remember this bucket. I call this the TSP bucket. One bucket with two sides. For example, it is your TSP. Your TSP is just the federal government's brand name for our 401k plan. And that is like a bucket, one bucket, two sides. Your TSP, your 401k, is one account with two sides. The traditional side is a traditional where you could dump money in traditional. You'll pay taxes later when you withdraw that money in retirement. The Roth side, you dump the money in now, pay the income taxes now. Then as it grows and it compounds with interest, you don't pay any taxes when you pull it out later. Okay, I dive more into that in other videos, but I just want to go over the structure right now, so I won't dive too deep into it. Now, this is where a lot of the confusion is coming. If you're watching this video, you're not the normal federal employee. You are a super saver or a person who is a super investor, and so more than likely, you want to invest in the TSP, right? Because it's a very good vehicle, but you also want to invest more, right? And that's where these two other accounts come in, right? Some of you have heard of IRAs, right? IRA is the formal name, individual retirement arrangement. I like to use individual retirement account. It's not more comprehensive, so I'll refer to it as that. These accounts, the TSP, 401ks, it's important. These are connected to the organization you work with, right? Some of you work for their hospitals, you work in the private sector. This is usually connected to a job or a company or an organization. Now, these two IRAs, you notice they are not one bucket. They are two different buckets. These are just accounts that any working American can open if they want to save even more for retirement. Or unfortunately, if you are a person who works for a company so small that they don't offer a 401k, well then you can make your own retirement account. But as federal employees, we use it to save even more. Most of us will try our best to max out our TSP. And then if we want to invest and save even more, we look to these IRAs. Now, these IRAs are not connected to the VA. Most people, I can't make recommendations, but I'll just tell you where my family has their money. In my family, those of us that have Roth IRAs or traditional IRAs, they're usually opened up through companies like Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. Really depends on the person and what platform they're comfortable with, right? But yeah, you can open them up with those folks. Now, can you open these types of accounts with your bank or your credit union? Yes. But I don't like that. Reason being is most banks, and I've heard some banks lying to some of our employees, saying that, oh, it's better to open up your Roth IRA with us, bank of blah, 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 because we have more investment options than a Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard. That's not true. Matter of fact, I also try to stay away from banks and credit unions when it comes to IRAs because banks make money on fees, and their fees are usually higher than one of those other investment companies that I mentioned with, right? So, again, when you open these up, they're two totally separate buckets. Now, I can't get into the specifics of your situation. For some of us, we're below a certain income threshold. we can invest directly into a Roth IRA. Some of us that make above the income threshold, I believe in 2024 it's going to be a single people 153,000, double that for couples. You might still want to contribute to a Roth IRA, but for those high earners, you might have to do what's called a Roth conversion or a backdoor Roth IRA, where you'd have to dump the money in the traditional first, then the next day roll it over to the Roth. I have a video on that. Look in my Fed Finance YouTube page. It's called Backdoor Roth IRA for High Earners, or Roth IRA for higher earners, okay? But I just want to make sure you understand that, because although the names are very similar, they are different. They work somewhat the same way, but I want to make sure that you understand that there is a difference, okay? And I will go over the 2024 numbers for 401ks and the 2024 numbers for IRAs, because again, I know a lot of you use them, okay? So guys, this is 2024. The IRS just announced it. When I publish this video, below that, I'll send you the IRS notice for 2024 where it states that. So for 401k plans, okay? Now, the limit has gone up. The maximum amount for a person, these are for people that are below 50 years old. They can put up to $23,000 into the TSP. Now, going back here, $23,000, and real quick, my folks that are 50 years and older, your maximum has gone up to $30,500. This includes the catch-up provision, right? So it's $23,000 plus the catch-up provision. I don't have it up here, but it's an additional $7,500, and that's why for folks that are 50 and older, you could save and invest up to $30,500 in your TSP. But let's go back to the bucket. In this bucket, remember those maximum dollar amounts, whether for you it's 23 or 30,500, you can put that money in either the Roth or traditional or a little bit of both. It just can't exceed that maximum in total, right? Another thing I want to mention is that when you put this money in, this money does not include the company match, the 5% match of the TSP. So if you're like me, I plan to dump $23,000 in 2024. Any money that the federal government matches me will be on top of that. Okay, so this is just money out of your paycheck. Okay, now for those, so again, if you're not writing this down, you might want to write this down. Okay, so these are the maximums for the different age groups. Now over here, I'll go over the pay calendar here in a second, and we'll talk about timing and all that, because most of us in December, we want to make our changes, update them so that they take effect the first payday of January, and essentially we can set it and forget it for the whole year. I'll show you how to do that, okay? But just stick with me for now. So the dollar amounts, if you're one of our employees that are below 50 years old, your max is $23,000. There is 26 paydays in 2024, right? And matter of fact, guys, by the way, when I send this thing out in an email, I'm going to send it out to our folks in the VA via email. I'll also include the 2024 pay calendar if you don't have it already. So this, if you divide it amongst 26 paydays, round numbers comes up to $884 every payday. This is the precise dollar amount, 884.61, but they don't really allow you to do whole numbers, right? And yeah, this is an increase of $500 from last year, but more importantly, you want to write this down for my folks that are under 50. If you're over 50 years old and older, right, your $30,500 divided by 26 paydays comes to $1,173. So that is the change. I'll also talk to you about what dates to make those changes. So write these dollar amounts down. Okay? Now, when you go into My Pay to make these changes, I'm going to show you the dates and I'll show you the effective. So let me go ahead and pull up our pay calendars and kind of show you our strategy. And I want you to write some of these dates down because I want you to put it on your schedule or your calendar. So again, despite the holidays being busy, you can go in and quickly make the change and move on with enjoying your holiday season, okay? So let's pull up the pay calendars. Okay guys, so this is our pay calendar for 2024. Let's start with our goal. Our goal is to make the increase in TSP contributions, and we want it to hit and begin the first payday in January, which is January 5th. We want that increase to start here so we can set it and forget it for the whole year, evenly distributed amongst 26 paydays. So that's our goal. So let me show you how we're gonna do that, all right? So guys, if you're paying attention, I know they look similar, but please pay attention. This is a 2023 calendar, and I want to talk about December. Remember, our goal is for that increase to hit our paycheck or impact our TSP contribution January 5th. But to do that, pay attention now. This is what we have to do, okay? I recommend, and this is where you set your alerts, to make that TSP change, and you do this in the MyPay website, between December 11th and 13th, okay? December 11th and 13th. This is the reason why. When we make it, you could technically make it any time this week, but I don't like to wait too far in the week. 11th to 13th. When you do that and you make the change, MyPay will say, okay, you've made a change. It'll take effect the beginning of the next pay period, December 17th. If you don't know that, the beginning of the pay period starts on Sunday. So this is the thing. Because it takes effect here, you will work this whole week, the first week of the pay period. You will work this second week. Okay? When you work this week and then you work this second week, those 2 weeks of work, right? The weeks that are impacted, you will get paid for those weeks on January 5th. Okay? This payday will not be affected here, right? So again, we make the change in MyPay on these dates, 11, 12, or 13. You pick one. I'm probably gonna put an alert on the 11th for me, you know, just in case something comes up. I have a few days, right? I would make the change in MyPay. It will start, it'll say there in MyPay, be effective December 17th. And that's okay, because it's gonna be effective. You'll work this week. You notice this is pay period 26. You'll work here, and based on those weeks of work, it'll take effect, and that TSP contribution will take effect January 5th of 2024. Okay? So please put the alerts there. You want to make the change there. So now you have the dates. Okay? Again, and if you make the change, don't worry, it will not impact this payday. This is still last year. Okay? So well, I don't want to confuse you too much. All right? So again, this is where we want to make the change. It'll be effective on the 17th. Effective just means it's part of the processing, that pay period. And it'll impact your paycheck. If I can go back to 2024. It'll impact that January 5th payday. And from here, all on out, for the rest of the 26 pay periods of 2024, you can set it, forget it, and it'll be evenly distributed. Okay? Hope that wasn't too confusing, right? So it shows the effective date there. This is just my reminder, right? So again, I would put it on your alerts, December, between 11 and the 13th of 2023. That's when you go into MyPay and make the change, okay? Another point I want to make is if you are on the cusp of turning 50, right? So right now you qualify to put 23,000 in, but let's say you're turning 50 sometime in the year of 2024. Beginning, middle, end, it doesn't matter. If you are turning 50 in the year of 2024, you can start making catch-up contributions starting in January. Okay? So for example, my birthday is March 3rd, right? So even though I'm not born till March 3rd, I can start making, if I was turning 50, I could evenly divide this amongst 30,526 paydays starting from January. Okay, so I know not a lot of you are on that cusp of 49 to 50 years old, but if you are, you can start doing it the year you turn 50, and I hope that makes sense, right? Now, again, everything I just discussed is our 401k, the TSP, all right? The next thing I'm going to discuss is IRAs, and I want to make sure that's clear. So these are folks that have individual retirement accounts outside of their job, okay? So let's talk about those numbers for 2024. Okay. So in 2024, I show a little bit of 2023 just so you kind of know where we came from and where we're going. For individual retirement accounts, those of us that are under 50 years old, right, we can contribute. It used to be $6,500, now it's $7,000. Okay, so it increased by $500. Now, for people 50 years old and older, it went from $7,000 to $8,000. So you got a $1,000 bump. Okay. Now, the one thing different I want to make sure that you understand is when you put money into an IRA, you could do it in any number of different ways. You can actually just do it lump sum. Boom. The first week of January, dump the whole amount in there. That's actually what I plan to do. Boom, dump the cash in there. If you're more of a systematic investor, then yeah, you can divide this amongst 26 paydays, and equally divided among the year. But you don't have to do that. And the reason why is because unfortunately, in the IRAs, we don't get a company match, right? With our 401k, we want it evenly distributed so that every payday that we contribute, we also get the match, all right? So I just want to make sure you understand the difference in that, okay? Now, the one thing that is unique, let's go back to 2023. Let's say you got super busy in 2023, you wanted to dump 6,500 in there, and you're behind. This is what's unique about IRAs. You can reach your maximum 6,500 even past the new year. So the last date you can contribute to a 2023 IRA is actually the tax day of 2024. Okay, but this is the thing. This is what the rules say, but this is what I would recommend. Do not try to get this done before you file your taxes. A lot of us, some of us do file on the last day, right? We're procrastinators, but some of us like to get it done a little bit early. I do not recommend you filing your taxes and then doing it. Try to get your business done ahead of time, right? So just so you know, this technically is the last day, but try to get it done, okay? And then if you want to contribute for 2024, the first day you can deposit this money is on New Year's Day. January 1st is a holiday, right? So not a lot of things are actually happening. So January 2nd, 2024, you can go in and either dump this cash in lump sum, or you could do it systematically throughout the year, right? Every payday, or do a little bit of both. I do know some people who put, a little bit, $100 here and there, or they wait for their performance award bonus, they'll dump that in, or they wait for a tax return, dump that in. So whatever you want, you just have to dump this in maximum in 2024, okay? So guys, another thing I do want to mention, whether it be in your TSP or in these IRAs, when you dump cash in, most of you don't do this, but I have found a few people that do. Remember, the advantages of these accounts are the tax advantages. And if you just put the cash in there and leave it cash, you're really not taking advantage of the power of these accounts. So I do recommend you dump the cash in. Once the cash is in those accounts, you buy some type of investment, a mutual fund, or whatever. If you want to talk more about that offline, because everyone's a little bit different, contact me, reach me out. A bunch of you have, and we could talk about options that are good quality, low cost in fees. And on top of that, you're not buying some product that your financial advisor is making heavy commissions on, right? So I won't go down that road right now. A lot of you know how I feel about financial advisors. But yeah, we want to make sure we're buying a product that is good for you, not for the commissions and fees of a financial advisor. So anyway, yeah, that's the difference in the IRA. The last thing I want to mention is this. Guys, I call this the quiet time of the year because, we're not yet in the madness of the holiday seasons yet, right? But we're also past the madness of summer vacation time, or other people going on vacation, you stepping up to cover them, right? Or the kids are back in school, kind of in routine. This quiet time is good research time. One of the things I do recommend, if you have not done it in a couple years, is also go and reshop your health insurance. If you are taking advantage of the federal government's FEHB health insurance plans, they have already announced the premium increases for 2024. I'm gonna send you the link. This is OPM's FEHB comparison tool. Some of you guys that have looked through this, we have over probably like 10, 12 options. It can be very overwhelming. I like this tool. As a matter of fact, I recommend it to all our new employees because it helps you take that 10, 12, 15, however many options you have, to help you narrow it down to at least 2 or 3 options that's a little bit more manageable for you and your spouse, or you if you're single, to make a decision on what's the best fit for you and your family. If you have not done that in the last 2 to 3 years, I suggest you do it. Maybe your family has grown, maybe it's shrunk, right? Maybe some of your kids are grown older and they moved out and they have their own insurance. Maybe you've had a new child. Maybe you've gotten married, now you have a spouse. Maybe you got divorced and you lost a spouse. But whatever your situation is, it's a good time to shop it. Or if nothing in your life has changed, remember the premiums have changed for 2024. The plan that was a good fit financially for you 2 or 3 years ago may not be that way anymore. maybe there's a better option. So it's a way for you to save money and maybe even get a better quality plan for you and your family, okay? So look, I will send you a link to this comparison tool so you look at the plans available in your zip code, okay? So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end for now. If you haven't reached out to me in the past, you could reach out to me online, Gregory Mesa. And if you have any questions, everyone reaches me either on email or reaches me on Teams. Or if you're in the Las Vegas area, I'm happy to meet with you face to face. But guys, if there's nothing else, I wish you good luck, happy holidays. And guys, let's carve out a little time, make some time to plan this stuff out. So that's why when we get into the holiday season, we made our decisions already. By the way, open season starts right after, it's in late November, early December. Again, very busy time for families. Make that decision now. So if you are gonna make a change and that time comes, bam, you don't gotta do any researching around. You already have a decision. Go into my opinion, make the change. That said, guys, I'll catch you next time.